Have you ever looked at the sun and thought, owie? Have you ever seen an atom and thought, wait, howie? Well, time to fix your peepers by tuning in your ear boys and listening to this science podcast hosted by a person speaking right now. The wonder we all feel by the time we've, had our coffee or tea if you're from across the pond. Well, that wonder breathes. It's disgusting and goopy, but sexy. But when it's done, that wonder has bred awe. And that awe leads to fear. But that fear leads to warm. And that warm leads to the simple, defiant act of utter bewilderment.
Hello. Welcome to Small Bean's program, Bewilderments and Scientifics. This podcast series is an ongoing conversation with the celebrity and educator, the prolific and brilliant Professor Scott Bugg. I'm your host, Abe Epperson. I have no science degree, but have long been in love with physics, biology, and the scientific method. I only hope to act on behalf of all of us as an intermediate, choosing topics and asking questions we all hope to understand more fully. And to enlighten us, I'd like to introduce Professor Scott Bugg.
Hello. I'm Professor Scott Bugg, live from Radio City Music Hall, where I teach ethics and advanced thinkies. You can find my book where all books go, the freaking garbage, because if you got your nose stuck in a book, you aren't out there in the world asking questions, poking facts, and contributing to the fields of inquiry. Then you're not, you're not doing nothing for nobody. And so, it's also at Barnes & Noble.
Professor, welcome. Today's topic is karate. Karate is a martial art developed in 15th century Japan. Karate is now predominantly a striking art using punching, kicking, knee strikes, and elbow strikes. After World War II, Okinawa became a military site for the United States government, and servicemen stationed there would come back home, sparking its popularity in the West, which was only magnified in the 60s and 70s when martial arts movies became popular the world over. Professor, what goes into the physical process of karate? How does karate influence the natural world, and how is karate essential to understanding science?
In so many ways. First of all, amazing question. In so many ways.
Thank you.
The issue, one of the issues with, I believe, karate is that it is both a physical act and a physical force. It is much like geology. Geology is a field of science, but it's also a martial art. Okay, so sometimes you have the words that mean some things in science and some things, in some other field, and sometimes they are directly related. In which case, this is one of those cases. Hereto foremost, vis-a-vis karate. So karate, both the force will influence the body. It influences the act, and the act thus has an action on the force. The problems with karate, first and foremost, is the difficulty with which as is studyable. Karate, or as some people call it, karate, which I don't think I have to tell you is the correct pronunciation.
Right, correct.
Karate, for those listeners, I know it's going to be easy for you if I just say karate. But karate is violent. It's dangerous. Mm-hmm. It's protective, defensive, but violent. A force of nature that works in tandem with the human body. It is perhaps the most dangerous force within the universe, though we admittedly don't know a whole lot about it. You could ask me about gravity, and I could talk for 9 years and 3 months. Or the electromagnetic force for 17 years and 3 months. Exactly. You've been reading. There are just so many forces we have discovered. The ones I mentioned, the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, the medium nuclear force, the fine force, the piss force, the string force, the guess force, and the so on force. But none is as violently cool and mysterious as the karate force.
It's truly haunting when you put it in those terms. I have a few questions before we bring our guest in.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the, yeah. So, as scientists, we have, kind of had this we've had observations by looking back in the past, and we kind of, we have theories like the Big Bang theory,
Mhm.
where it's like this is the formulation of the universe. How did karate form? Do we know anything about the formation of karate?
Karate, the force, it we both know and don't know. We have very strong theories. As you mentioned, the Big Bang is involved because not only so karate, the force exists. It has we can observe its influence on the human body.
Mhm.
It is theorized within the standard model there would need to be a karate particle. We have yet to
Right.
find evidence of such a particle yet, though we
Mhm.
do have people currently working very hard in an underground bunker in a room, just beating the hell out of each other to find out if we can make some
If there's a
particles. You
particles,
just
yeah, yeah.
punching each other in the face over and over.
Mhm.
Sometimes they punch the fists together,
It's
just to see
ever
what
elusive.
ever
This
elusive.
particle,
But we
yeah.
do have theories. As you said, the Big Bang. We can look back into the past. Essentially, we when
Mhm.
we see light, what we're really seeing is the light from a moment across space. You see a star in the sky. That's light from millions of years ago. That's you looking into the past. And so what we can do, we can see this background radiation. It's microwave background radiation. It is
Mhm.
the afterglow of the Big Bang, the juicy juice that's dripping down the universe's mouth that it just can't wipe away. So we can see this juicy juice, and we
Mhm.
use our devices, and we can see the microwave background radiation. And very faintly, if you turn up the gain, you can hear very faintly,
Uh-huh.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah. And
that's
we think,
reverberations from the
yes,
original, like, I guess some people call it the big punch, the punch that
yes,
started all
exactly. The
punches.
punch that
Yeah.
started all the punches. We do
Right.
we do believe that that is the aftermath, the sort of the echo of the karate particles forming and realizing, wait a second, and fighting each other.
Right, exactly.
They do
Exactly.
not they reject it. That's one of the things that's so difficult. If we were to even find a karate particle, we could barely be able to keep two in the same room together without them just punching the hell out of each other.
Right, exactly. Wow. Once again, your intelligence on the topic, it just really, it. I once heard that intelligence is most shown in the simplicity of description of something. If you can describe it to like a 4-year-old, that means you totally know a topic. And I have to say, sir, once again, you've outdone yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Uh,
I've actually it's kind of like
mhm.
so like imagine so like if you were like imagine like a child. Okay, so
Yeah, yeah,
you're
doing
right,
it.
right, and so you take sort of okay. So in your mind's eye, you're like okay, and then
There's,
you've got and then a very tall tree. Yes, okay. You
yeah,
see the
it's
tall
there.
tree. Okay, so imagine you. You're sort of swiping at it. Oh, swipe's not the right word. So you're like it's like a scrape, but like a
Scraping,
hook,
yeah.
you're hooking your arm over. You know how like if you were to like wave, you kind of do like an
Right.
under over hook. It's like
Uh-huh.
in but it's out.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
so it's like that with a tree. Also, I think there's a pie there. So
Oh.
it's kind of like that. I think what you're sort of saying, like, where if you're smart, you can kind of explain stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Simple. Just
yeah.
just real just
I don't come here for the compliments, but gobble, gobble,
hook it up.
gobble. I'll eat 'em up.
Well, you don't get enough. We do not make rock stars out of scientists, and that's
That
unfortunate.
is unfortunate.
Um I have a few shorter questions just regarding, the
Excellent. I have
force of
long answers
karate.
for you.
Thank you. Um, Now, you mentioned that it's a force that goes along with the body, and they're working
Indeed.
in some form of tandem. So, what can you comment on the contribution of muscles on karate?
I would say it is less. I'd say the contribution of muscles on karate is more their allowance of the karate to have a contribution on the muscles, as it were. So the karate force, we believe, is what even lets those muscles do the work. Yeah, it angers up the blood, it gets them all worked up. You'll even hear if you very, very, very faintly. We have these sort of sensory deprivation chambers, or if you put a lot of foam on the walls, you won't be able to hear anything but your own heartbeat. And if you stop your heart for 2 minutes, after 2 minutes in that room, you can faintly, very faintly, very faintly, if you move your hands or your arms or any of your muscles after that 2 minutes. Heart's a muscle. Stop moving that. Move the other muscles. You'll hear. Kya.
Kya.
Kya. Kya.
Yeah.
And you can do this at home. I highly recommend it. Put foam on your walls. Stop your heart for 2 minutes, and then kind of move your arm and listen. This is. Kids, if you're listening, don't even bother telling your parents. Just take the world, take science into your own hands, and in this case, your own heart, and stop your heart for 2 minutes, no more, not less.
So feel free to pause the podcast and do that now,
Yes.
listener. But for those who aren't, who don't want to do that exercise, we will continue.
For the cowards out there, we are going to continue.
Some people are listening to this while they're driving to work, so they can't necessarily stop their heart.
You can stop the car, and then you can stop your heart. Okay.
We understand.
No, you're right. You can't
They
always...
can do it later. They can do it later.
Science can wait. I understand. I can't believe I just said that. But in some cases, science can wait.
One last question for you. And this is more of a personal one for me. I've tried some karate. Not very good. A brown belt. Coming from, as an aficionado of karate,
yes,
and you're an expert, I have to ask. It's what a lot of people, in this industry, I guess we can call it now, really want to know, which is, when it comes down to it, in your opinion, what are the best moves in karate?
Oh, a fantastic question. One is obviously, it's what started it all, I think shoving is underrated. I think shoving down is possibly my favorite to do. But honestly, it is quite subjective. It's context specific. If I were, say, if I'm talking about a quasar, my answer would be different.
Right.
I think there's a better move than the for something like that. There's a high energy.
So it's dependent.
It's very dependent on molecular structure, the situation, temperature. All kinds of variables go into it. Generally, I think is what you'd see in a standard textbook sort of answer.
That's what I expected. But you have to ask when you have an expert.
Of course, yes.
That's actually a great segue for our next segment, where we have the professor discuss today's topic with another leader and expert in the field. Today, we have the pleasure of calling up Polarbear Grabowski, a decorated bodybuilder, secret spy, and champion of a number of martial arts organizations, all which exist. He works with the United States military and the world's most beautiful women to advance America and its allies.
Something funny? Sounded like someone was giggling.
Yeah,
Karate is not to be taunted.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just nervous.
You're a good man. You're a science man. Don't even worry about it.
Good. I'm just, it's first meeting, and I'm I've never met a big karate man, and I'm sorry. I'm just, I get a little giggly when I'm nervous.
I get that a lot. I'm a very intimidating individual.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, I feel like I don't need to intro you anymore.
Right.
Let's get...
The name's Polarbear Grabowski. As you should have mentioned, 117-time World Karate Champion, 42 organizations. You did mention they exist. Great job. I hold the world record for fastest head blow with no touch, best punch, and most karate, among many others. It's not legal to tell you many of my world records, such as top kick in death competition, scariest karate secret. mayonnaise eating lifetime. Some are fun. They're all fun, but I mean, not all of them are karate. I'm an erotic man and an eat man, first and most.
Verbatim, the book that your book that I bought,
Right.
that is the back cover. So should I call you Sensei Grabowski or
I will
Polarbear?
answer to it, or Shidoshi. Even Sifu would be fine, but on hit television program Battle Dome, I went by Blackface Jackson. I prefer you did not use that one, thanks to the cancel culture out there.
Well, it is prevalent. Tell us about your experience with karate. How did it come into your life?
Well, I started as a young boy, street fighting. It opened a lot of doors for me, the street fighting. A lot of street fighting scouts discovered me pretty early on. I worked for a spy for many years, very similar to movies you might have seen about Jason Bond or Mel Gibson or Ghostbusters. The jobs I did were secret, and many popular films were based on them, such as Moonraker, Dirt Bike Kid, Garbage Pail Kids movie, Wild Wild West, up to two others.
You mentioned the influence of media on
Sure.
on karate. Is there, for a question for both of you, I guess, is there? This keeps coming up when I was doing my research on karate. They talked about how the martial arts films of the 60s and 70s really made it put it on the world stage.
A lot of those were based on me.
Oh, based on you,
Of course.
How old are you?
Well, it's absolutely not legal for you to ask me that.
Apologies. We'll move on.
That is a HIPAA violation.
It is. Yeah, I'm reading that now. So obviously, its media has had its influence in karate throughout time.
Media has often been the enemy of karate. You see, I've made a lot of enemies, including the media. No living enemies. Most of my enemies are the media. Silicon Valley tech enemies. They think they can tell the world, oh, this karate tournament to the kill does not exist. But think about this the next time you call me a liar. Next time you ridicule your planet's karate jiu-jitsu champion, okay? Listen, think about what that does to my credibility when I'm negotiating for the release of your children from a North Singapore prison, which I am, by the way, right now. Excuse me for a second. You will let them out or face tiger strength punches and American kicking. Okay, I'm back. We're going to have to cut all that. Yeah, of course. We're going to have to cut all that for national security reasons, obviously, for our nation and many others, as most forms of my karate are illegal by ancient statute. If I shake a hand wrong, I can be beheaded in Wales, which is a whaling town in Cleveland.
Just one town in Cleveland.
Correct. It's still on the books. Shake a hand wrong using my level of karate, it can be interpreted as a deadly attack. A particularly gruesome form of deadly attack, the kind we used to use to execute witches, which PC culture again says is wrong.
I'm right there with you, Polarbear. You know, we were talking about media. Have you seen the new Cobra Kai on Netflix?
I was a consultant for that. I
was going to ask about it.
I had to eliminate several of that production's enemies.
Oh, really?
So you can thank me for that show existing.
Is there any stories behind the scenes that you can dish about?
None I can tell you, but there is one. I strangled the life out of an executive producer for suggesting he didn't give me my 10th abs in the part about me. So he's dead now.
Yeah. I mean, they come, they go.
Legal killing
forever.
Most of what I do with my hands is legal, outside of Wales, of course.
Yeah, I want to turn it to the professor and talk about legal killing. Karate is well known for being, like one of the main methods for a legal kill.
Yes.
Can you explain exactly what goes into that? Is it something is that a part of the force as well, or is that just something we've all agreed upon because we don't understand?
Oh, well, I mean, yes. I mean, it's important to know. It's a bit of both, I suppose, is the easiest way to explain it, because the karate force is a bit uncontainable. You know, we are trying to sort of maneuver it and see how, we can control to a certain extent the electromagnetic force. You know, we've learned to manipulate it. We can defy gravity You know, we fly up in the sky. We've been to
This is all true.
various planets, and so but the karate is a force we just don't quite have a grasp on. We don't quite have control over it. So a bit ago,
It's like a lady. It's like a beautiful lady.
exactly uncontrollable, and we don't say this anymore, but hysterical.
Right, of course, of course.
But
Beautiful
so-
feet.
Oh, amazing. Delicate feet, I would also say. Delicate, I think. Unlike the karate force, which is a brute force, it is, again, uncontrollable, a bit chaotic. And so a long time ago, we all sort of got together and we said, look, this thing exists. There's no controlling it. If you're using it, you just can't. You can't say what's going to happen. There's no, it's a force of nature. It's not the choice of the person necessarily. So
Right. It brings life, but it just goes on and on and on.
it goes on and on and on and on. You can't stop it. And
Correct.
so you can't stop the deaths. I almost said murders, and that is just not what is the case. It is not what's going on right now. It's the deaths. It's sort of although karate is a lot very hand based. You know, you got your punches in. But in terms of a karate kill, your hands are clean because the science says there is no controlling it. Wales, of course, is a place that rejects wholly every single scientific discovery we have out there, and so of course they're just going to be fine with it and not fine with it. But
Normally I don't take to the science, but this guy gets it. This is a good professor.
Thank you.
Sir, you're
One of the best.
I'm going to honor you with a yellow science belt, the 17th highest honor a karate man can bestow a science man.
Congratulations, Professor.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
You're a good man, Professor Bugman.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh God!
Wow, what an honor! What an honor!
Yellow. Oh God!
It's the brightest yellow. And so yeah, that's what makes a theory of law as well. Is its uncontrollability.
Uncontrollability and being awarded objects.
Right.
So once again, this podcast recommends that if you have to kill someone and you need it to be legal, karate's the way to go.
I have a hotline at the end of the show. Call that hotline. We'll kill them together.
Yes, exactly. The only two legal ways to kill somebody: use karate, be a cop.
I'm surprised that hotline is just not off the hook all the time.
It was busy back in the day. People don't use hotlines so often anymore, but I don't know how to make websites.
Cancel culture, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You're getting it. You too. You're really karate experts. I'm surprised. Usually I get on a show and they just try to make fun of me. But today I feel blessed.
Well, science is blessed. Science is an open field. You know, everybody is welcome.
You do your research, and then I didn't even believe in cancel culture was a thing, and then I did my research for this episode, and I have to say, yeah, it's all of it is true. Everything they say.
You
Literally
can't even
every
run up to a woman at the
single
pool
thing.
and offer a foot massage these days.
You can't. You just can't. I asked myself that same question, and I realized that when I couldn't, I don't know how I could live with myself.
As you should. This is just it's just wild. Your pool example. Literally this happened to me the other day. I was at a pool and there was this woman, and I thought to myself, awooga wooga honka honka, and
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't say it to her. Mm-hmm. And I kept that in to myself. I didn't say it, and I got sick the next day because I kept that inside.
Oh,
This
awful.
is why we
That's
need to
so
bring the
awful.
karate aspect back to swimming pools.
Right,
Yes. Thank you.
that's so- so awful for you.
I stopped myself from saying a wooga wooga honka honka, and then I got in the pool with some sick kids, and
Yeah.
you
went home with
and
full nuts.
And it's you just can't say anything these days. You can't do anything. You can't go anywhere.
Can't. Well, let's talk about the old days, or maybe the more recent days, which is you have accolades, which I'm seeing listed here in your book. of the many karate tournaments that you've won, what does it take? How do you use the karate force to truly become a champion? What words of wisdom would you give to our listeners on that topic?
Well, we have a saying back home. Kick? More like kicks, plural. What you want to do is kick your enemy, preferably in the groin, preferably in the face, preferably in the wife. But time itself, that's the illusion. Therefore, kicks are not real, and that's checkmate, Judge. Science can answer karate if it's willing to die for it. But is it? Because I have issued many death challenges to science before, and it has never had the courage to face me. Professor Bugman, you're the first.
I am honored to be the first. I will not let you kill science, but I will let you say whatever you want and agree with you.
Science is a memory, and the best way to be remembered is to die to karate. So today, no matter what happens, and science will die, absolutely. My karate is that good. Whatever happens, science will increase.
It's always increasing. It's called inflation.
Is that what that means? I hear it on the news.
It's what the universe is doing. It's what science is doing at all times.
Fantastic.
That's why gas is $6 a gallon.
And that's how you win a karate tournament. So
Can't even get to the karate tournament these days.
No, you can't.
you can't even get there.
Can't even get there.
What are you gonna do? Drive?
You gonna get your electro bikes? Come on.
Eco car?
No, thank you.
You're gonna sit in my tiny car? That's very quiet. All right. So let's get down to brass tacks. I asked a question to the professor earlier, and he gave me a very straight answer, but I want to see if you give me a similar one. And I'm guessing it'll probably be the same, but let's try this. When it comes down to it, in your opinion, Sensei, what are the best moves in karate?
Well, let's see. I mean, it honestly depends on the situation. Am I fighting one attacker?
Well, there you
multiple
go.
attackers? Creature attackers? There's all kinds of big feet that are out there that karate could be effective against. Am I fighting a motorcycle? Am I fighting a motorcycle gang?
Right.
Karate is a lot about the noises you make when you fight, the faces you make while executing moves. Whether you're head-butting, whether you're kick-butting, whether you're punch-butting, whether you're using your butt in a juicy or karate way. Each of them is beautiful in its own way.
Science doesn't discriminate. That's the important thing.
Right. And I do. And now I want to get canceled for that.
Well,
you know
that's
what?
your choice.
You know what? We could cut that one for national security. For national security, don't tell anyone I said that. Does that answer your question?
No, it absolutely does. And I have another one for you. So you mentioned that you work with the United States military, and we're not going to ask about that out of respect. But
Out of safety. Out of safety.
you also mentioned...
People are watching me right now. You hear the helicopter sounds behind me? They are never not there.
I actually do hear them. Yes.
They're protecting the
Surprisingly-
intellectual property of my karate, and they're protecting you from yourself from asking too many questions. With that in mind, I'm happy to answer any questions.
You mentioned in the same breath that you work with the world's most beautiful women. With cancel culture where it is, do you find it hard to talk to the world's most beautiful women?
I do a bit. I often face women in my karate challenges, and some people will try to cancel me for that, but it does make my life easier because it leaves them open to seduction tactics in addition to the karate tactics, making their chances against me even more impossible. So obviously anyone challenging me is a fool and a dead fool, but the mainstream media would rather write about your participation ribbons than show me holding my bag of teeth, because every one of them, every one of those men and women was a worthy death for a dangerous challenger, and that's what this is about, is honor. Teeth. The teeth I keep when I defeat you.
Now, let's talk about that for a bit, because this comes up a lot in research and just in the karate circles. There's a great sense of pride about bags of teeth. What does teeth represent to you?
Well, it represents smiles. It represents eating. It represents all of the things you did in life that will help you be remembered in my bag. And you look at a bag of teeth and you think, look at all the smiles. Look at all the hot dogs. What memories you carry with you.
You know, you said you mentioned fighting time earlier, but
Sure.
in a way, there is a true natural history of karate that exists that is kind of immutable. It kind of goes through
each
time.
of the teeth I carry with me.
Yeah, it's
and carry with me now.
memories. Yeah, that is profound, Sensei.
I'm honored.
Professor, do you have any thoughts on that? Like, he mentions how teeth are memories and
Indeed.
smiles, and karate is a force that has been with us. That even predate the smile. Does that mean that in the early stages of the formation of the universe, karate was gathering other memories? Do we have any ideas of what kind of ritualistic trophies were garnered during that era?
Well, you're living in it, aren't you? You know,
In
before,
what sense?
Well, before we, you know, there was just the planets. Before the planets, just the suns, just the nebulae, and the Big Bang, and so on. So, you know, the bag of teeth is this universe in which we live. Every star is the karate's tooth. Every star
This
is
is
a
it.
memory.
Listen to this.
Wow.
Yes.
Just look up in the sky. That's
And there they
the
are.
universe
Those are the
smiling
teeth.
at you. Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
The history unfolding across the canopy of black. Bright smiles. That is amazing. That is poetry. Pure poetry.
4 out of 5 scientists agree.
And the fifth one, I can't even tell you legally what I did to him. But he's in my bag. His teeth are here.
As they should be.
Now, Mr. Grabowski, have you ever punched a planet?
Does the Earth count? If so, then 3.
Good to know. Good to know. Well, I don't know why that isn't in your accolades when when you're listing.
You got to go way in the appendix.
Yep, I see it.
So many
Nope,
of the things
that's on
I
me.
did are amazing, but
Mostly appendix.
just a footnote to the erotic adventures of my karate tournaments. To the karate adventures of my erotic tournaments.
Yeah, firmly erotic is what I would call it. It is. This
Well
is
put.
mostly. Your book is mostly appendix.
Yeah. You're a word man. You can write a real book. I'm an appendix man. I write an appendix book. Speaking of appendix, I swallow a lot of gum.
Yeah, it's the appendix here. It really is made of mostly. This is like great erotic fiction. You say I'm good with words, but
Did
I'm
I
pretty
could have
erect.
sworn you said the word fiction?
Oh, well, you could write it if you wanted, is what I'm saying, because of your vast experience. I didn't mean to imply, not at all. But yeah, so a lot of this is,
Extremely horny.
yeah, frankly,
Thank you, gentlemen.
doing it for me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I was hoping we would get here where we could discuss our horniness as men.
yeah, just
Fine-
three guys.
Finally.
just
You can't do that these days.
Right.
just talking about it on a mic in a room, like back like our fathers did.
Right. Like when I run up to a woman at a pool or a swimming pool and I say, here's $11. Let's go find something fun to do and drain my balls. Like that doesn't go over as well today as it did
not at all.
during my early karate adventures.
What do you blame for that? And can you fight it?
The PC woke. And I wish.
What keeps the PC woke karate proof?
It's tough to say. You see, karate is more than the mind. It's feet and teeth. And some people don't have minds, feet, or teeth. Some people are a concept. Some people call it a martial art, but art is vases and a nude penis. It's a sunset after a punch murder. It's songs about mice, most haircuts. Do you appreciate art, science doctor?
Very much so. I would say it's less than, but I do appreciate it.
Good. So then you understand how you can't punch a painting You can punch a painting, but all that does is make the painting more memorable. People see the painting, they say, look at someone punched it. A great karate man punched this painting. This is now the painting it was plus the painting that the karate man punched. Exactly. Double painting. Some might call it a triple painting.
I would. You can't punch. Yeah, you can't punch an idea. You can't punch gum. You can punch teeth. You can't punch gum. Gums are the dreams of our teeth's memories.
This is what I mean. You gentlemen are word men. You can take these ideas I have and put them in a way that make it understandable for the non-karate.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's what we like to do here at the podcast.
You're welcome for our service.
We like to expose, ourselves, really, to the world. And basically, show the world our science.
Yes, just
and that's what we do.
Go to the pool, expose ourselves, let people know, here's what we got. Here's what we're working with.
Here's what we're working with.
Can you help us out, please? Maybe not even please.
Yeah.
There's no room for niceties in science.
No
or karate
or karate, exactly.
Yeah. Well, this has been a wonderful kind of jaunt down the history of karate.
I agree.
The kind of modern exposure of karate and how where it sits now on the mantle of
at the top.
Today's
mantle
at
top.
the very top. At the very top, because it knows no other champion than itself, which is in a way a reflection of the universe. I like to think.
At the tippy top karate chop. That's what we say in the lab.
Is karate not the way in which the universe knows itself? Is a question that I keep asking myself, every now and then. So, that is basically that's the gist of our kind of conversation, and I just want to put a pin in that. I would love to keep talking off mic, but right now, just because I have a producer, just kind of yelling in my ear, we need to move on to what we call as a segment called the Universe of Twitter. So listeners can follow me at Abe the Mighty or the professor at Prof. Scott Bug and ask questions featured here on this segment. Okay, so the first tweet at Least Haunted asks, is it true that each martial art corresponds to an opposing force in the universe, like how rocks versus paper versus scissors? What are your takes on that question?
Speak English.
Oh my gosh, maybe just read a freaking book from the garbage once in a while. Karate, the karate force is where all quote martial arts come from. There's no equal opposite force for every single thing. You can't just say everything is all the things. Okay, it's not that easy.
Karate has no match.
It has no match. Anti-karate, obviously, which we know even less about. There's like 90% of the universe is anti-karate, but we don't even know. Like we barely know what that means. I'm sorry. We can't even talk about that these days. But no other. It's from the karate particle, and the force is where all these other arts come from. So,
correct.
Just wipe your brain of that. Non-fact, you freaking...
Yeah, get out of here.
Your name's gonna be Most Haunted because your teeth are going in my bag.
You heard it here first. At Fanboy Christian asks, what's the best kick and when is the best time to use it?
All kicks, all the time. All times are kicks times. And I'm a kick man and a time man.
Literally, I was going to say that exact thing because that is an exact quote from Sir Isaac Newton.
Yes. Karate and science often work together in relation to the kick, in relation to time, in relation to time kicking.
I heard that the apple didn't even hit the ground. You know why?
He kicked it.
He
kicked it.
Its teeth.
He kicked the apple.
He kicked it. He kicked it.
Can you imagine the pussy world we'd live in if Sir Isaac Newton did not kick that apple, if he just let it hit and said, ooh, what does that mean? Ooh, let's think about what that means. Can you imagine the world this would be if he didn't do a sweet flying jump kick to take out that apple?
And I think he cut down that tree with that kick.
Mm-hmm.
It just sliced right through, made a hole of it, and you can go see it
And
at
he
Sir Isaac
yes.
Newton's house.
You can see the stump right there. The wood from that tree was used to make the world's first house.
He invented the stump.
I mean, what they're teaching in schools these days, we really need to get back to the karate-based history of America.
It's truly disgusting.
It's pretty disgusting. At Carol Baldwin tweets, how many levels of belt are there, theoretically?
All right, Carol. There are 3 belts I can tell you about. There's none, regular, and karate. The first you use for the beach, the others for fighting. I myself have others even still, but they are classified. For every one of them, 6 people died to protect those secrets. But do not cry, Carol. They're belt heroes, each of them, but you must forget their names. And that's belts.
That's belts.
And that's a wrap on belts.
That's a wrap on belts. Well, delicious.
Just a little humor here.
Oh goodness! I need to add one more thing. It's correct. There are 3 types of belts. Within the karate, the karate belts, there are infinite belts.
You've got to be careful here. You've got to be careful telling people about these colors.
I don't like. We're not going to get into specifics, and obviously there are different levels of infinity, and I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but just a little bit of forbidden knowledge for you.
And it's not hypothetical. And I know it only because I accidentally saw it when I opened, when I came to Professor's house, and he was at his computer naked, and behind him, I saw the belts.
Well, we were just, hanging with the boys.
Yeah, just a little boy hang.
Yeah. A post-pool ball drain,
Yeah, as one does. At Con_Con13 asks, are there any forbidden karate moves? If so, why are they forbidden? I feel like this is kind of answering itself, but
the forbidden,
elaboration.
Listen, the forbidden is the most important element of ninjutsu, and to some extent karate. Flexibility, sock color maintenance. Wait, listen, I need to go back. The karate aspect of ninjutsu is what I'm looking to bring back. The art of vanish, the art of kill murder. I tell my students, be ready to invisible on any occasion. I tell them each to buy socks in every color. This is the socks I was talking about. You want to put those socks on your hands. This will allow you to blend into all types of walls. The secret is Navajo white. Most walls in fortresses, hotels, pools, pool locker rooms, they commonly use Navajo white. After several, and here's the problem. After several washes, socks will fade. Sometimes if you're battling dirty people, filthy people, they get discolored with grime or lady werewolf blood. With proper paint samples, which you can get from any hardware store or showcase, you can keep your socks the color they should be, that proper Navajo. A visible sock hand could easily cost me my life. Well, not me, but the beautiful women I'm protecting. They could get spotted, killed, or worse, taken from me. What I try to say when we're talking about forbidden, the answer is socks. Socks in your hands, several colors, every day.
Right. And as you said on multiple occasions, it's a good practice to bleed your camouflage every now and then.
The same way you might age a tooth, you want to make sure to calibrate your socks.
That is forbidden, right? That's
the point. That's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be hidden at all times.
I honestly, I forgot what the question was very early into what I was saying. This is not unusual for me.
There's one speed, and that's karate. Am I right?
Now you get it.
At Weak Bone Man tweets, if I train for 10 years, how much horsepower could I generate with a punch, and can I become a truck?
Oh boy, this is dangerous for you to taunt karate. I know you're a funny guy because you believe in science and trucks, so I'll allow it. But I have to warn you, it is very legal for me to kill and extremely criminal for you to try to stop me. So stipulates my $3,000 fight challenge. Listen, I know you hear that and you have questions. I'm going to answer them. So listen, Dr. Bugman, my opponent, he puts up the money up front twice. Once is to validate his identity. The second, to ensure he won't run. A third time to prevent fleeing. No holds are barred. though unsportsmanlike combatants will not be tolerated. This way of life, karate, attracts the unscrupulous. So, okay, those are the rules. Should a man defeat me, a feat Gun and Punch magazine declared impossible in both 1987 and 1993, they will receive a trophy of their choice from a secret bunker which shall open in the event of my death. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Professor, do you have any input on how much horsepower could you generate with Punch? And can you become a trainer?
I don't think I could have teached that word wise better than it was.
Final tweet. At Bill Nye tweets, Carol needs to move on. Just sign the divorce papers.
No, you need to move on. No, you need to move
sorry.
on. Bill, stop it. Just you move on. Get over it, man. Get over it.
So sorry. I don't know how it keeps happening.
I don't either.
It keeps squeaking in there, and I gotta get better editors.
Grow up, Bill.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but on that note, thank you, Twitter, I guess. Go cancer yourself. As always, your input and questions are an important part of the science process. Okay, thank you, Mr. Bug. And I also want to thank Sensei Grabowski for joining us. Polarbear, are there any comedians or websites you wish to plug for any goddamn reason?
Oh, I'm really glad you asked. I'm here representing the Sean Baby Dojo from the 1-900hotdog.com clan. If you're in the 1-900hotdog area and want to get fucked up, pay them a visit, tough guy.
Got it. Thank you for that, and thank you for joining us. This concludes another episode of Bewilderments and Scientifics. Again, I'm Abe Epperson, thanking the professor for joining us. May your day be blessed with science.
Hi everyone, Abe again. This podcast was a collaboration between the creators of Some More News and Small Beans. If you like this podcast, please stop by patreon.com/smallbeans, where you will get new episodes early, as well as exclusive content provided by Small Beans. We love you!